Hello everyone, so welcome to today's video, which is where we've got the expertise of Paul Winder joining us from Residential Estates, who's their Senior Investment Consultant and Development and Acquisition Manager, to talk with us about short-term lets and how that part of the industry has developed over the last few years. And there's a range of questions here that we've been asked from clients previously. There's questions as well that yourself, Paul, gets asked on a regular basis, I'm sure. And we caught up about 4 years ago, I think it was, wasn't it? In terms of looking at short-term lets as a property strategy and fundamentally how that's developed over the last couple of years, what we're going to be kind of touching on today's video. So we'll go straight into it. So the first question we've got is, what is an AST? And how does that compare to kind of an STL, or what might be known as an STL, so it's kind of short-term let? So what's your experience been like over the last kind of couple of years, Paul? How's that strategy changed, and what is an AST compared to an STL?
Well, I mean, I think sometimes we forget within our business that, we've both been doing this a long time, that we use terminology that is not familiar, certainly to a first-time investor. So I thought it'd be nice to start explaining exactly what both are. An AST is an assured short-hold tenancy, which is basically just a standard tenancy for 6 or 12 months. The majority of people have a rent. So it's a fixed income coming in every month, and you know where you are with it. A short-term let is primarily any let under 31 days, and in occasions under 6 months. So that can range from 2 nights up to 6 nights, but generally rebooked every 31 days. So it's a more flexible way of letting. And that can cater from, and we'll go into this later, that can cater from a lot of reasons, from the tourism market, a weekend stay, to a contractor working, to someone who has been delayed completion but moved out of a property beforehand and needs something that's more flexible than a 6 or 12 month tenancy where they're going to be committed for that amount of time, or it's going to be a bit of a stress to try and get out of it.
Because there's big extremes, isn't there? You've either got a hotel accommodation, possibly where you stay for 1 night, and then you've got kind of a 6 month minimum kind of AST.
And it's filling that gap in between. And the main difference is how that is charged. On a 6 month tenancy, you're always going to have a rental, a rental per month that's paid. And with a short term let, you're more likely to have a nightly or weekly rate dependent on what it's for. And how they vary is, I try and put it in this way, very simply. If you've got something that rents for £600 a month, that works out at £20 a day over a 30-day month. Whereas on a short-term let, that same property would probably rent for £80 a day, 4 times what it would. But there's no guarantees of occupancy, and there's a little bit more to come out of it. So it's not as easy as just saying you get 4 times as much. You don't.
Consider the costs.
But it gives you that option. It gives people option. And we certainly have noticed, and over COVID, with key workers being one, that option is very much needed nowadays. And over the strength of this video, we'll sort of explain how I think COVID has probably strengthened the market rather than weakened the market in terms of why these are so popular for people now. Because we are changing this world, we are more flighty, flexible, aren't we? We do actually get people asking for 2 or 3 month lets. Now, we've still got to do on a short-term side, because I believe regulations on the letting side sort of leave you in a bit of a grey area, if you're just doing it on a normal AST. But it's just having that option and giving investors that option of choosing what they want to do with exactly the same apartment. Apartment A and apartment A, it's just how you want to let that apartment out. Into doing that.
And I think legislation obviously change over time, and it will become, I think, apparent over the next couple of years that it needs to change in line with what people are looking to do. People are more fluid. They want kind of shorter term stays potentially, or if they're going to go and try out a new career or a new industry or move closer to kind of family or friends.
People traveling who travel every 4 months and just want to come back to something. We have now got, I think, in our Chester apartments, I think at the last count there was, in the last sort of 3 or 4 months, over 45 different suppliers of the tenants that were going in there. And that was ranging from key workers through to people who were coming back from quarantine, who had to quarantine. It opens up a floodgate of opportunities for allowing to do it. And there's other benefits to it, but we'll cross those later.
And I think it's important as well to maybe bookend this particular part of the conversation as well, that it is a choice, it's an option. It gives you some additional considerations that you can maybe rent out your property in a slightly different way. And for us, for my own portfolio, for example, we have a balance of buy-to-let and short-term kind of lets within our portfolio, because they're in locations that work brilliantly for longer term stays, and people want to stay near a school and things like that, and that works really well for that. And then there's other properties that are maybe suited for something different. So it's not about trying to rip up the industry and change it whole scale. It's about trying to find the right kind of fit really for those particular properties.
Yeah, we're not saying it works on everything or it will do or everybody can do it.
Yeah.
But when you can do it, it's a nice alternative. And we just mentioned off video then that during the pandemic, we obviously have quite a lot of apartments that we manage for our investors and owners on short-term lets, and we could see through the booking sources that bookings were drying up because people weren't allowed to travel, people weren't working, etc. You know, the tourism market was gone.
Yeah.
But because you've got to have an apartment in a decent location and it's obviously ready to live in, so it's fully furnished and it's all got the nice touches in, we offered our investors the opportunity then to go onto an AST for 6 months. And every single one was literally filled straight away because it's a good apartment in a good location. So you've got that flexibility of knowing, right, okay, I can go from this to this, you know, and as long as your management, whoever is managing your apartments is fluid in the same way, then it's a great thing to have. So yeah.
Perfect.